You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show. The preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. thechrisvossshow.com is live, coming at you live from our Chris Voss Show studios, wherever the hell these are at, in Las Vegas, Nevada, I guess. We, of course, have an amazing show for you, as always, for 16 years. This month, we've been 16 years old. We've been bringing you 2,000 episodes plus of the Chris Voss Show. We're just going to keep bringing you more until eternity ends. Whatever the hell that is. Anyway, guys, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss won the TikTok and all those crazy places of the internet. Today we have an amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking to him about ways you can market your business and different things that you can do to get better Google ads and run Google ads successfully. How to do it within a budget. And he's done a lot of that. John Horn joins us on the show with us today. He is the CEO of StubGroup, a digital advertising agency and a premier Google ad agency. StubGroup has helped over 2,000 clients across 15,000 campaigns with their paid ads and suspension issues. They have generated over $500 million of revenue for their clients across many different verticals, including e-commerce, lead generation, B2B, B2C, local services, and more. Welcome to the show, John. How are you?
Chris, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing fantastic.
Thanks for coming. It's great to have you as well. Give us your .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
Best place, StubGroup.com, or if you want a bunch of free video content, just go to YouTube, search StubGroup, and we put out a lot of content on there.
There you go. Find it on the YouTube, as the kids say it. That's not what they call it. They call it the YT, I think, is what they call it. Give us any of your places on the internet you want them to find you specifically.
Me specifically, LinkedIn, John Horn on there. YouTube is really where I spend most of my time as far as content creation goes, and then just, working directly with people who reach out through our website.
There you go. YouTube's a great place. So give us a 30,000 overviews in your words of what you guys do there.
Yeah, so ultimately we help businesses find and connect with customers online. And we do that primarily through paid search and paid social platforms, Google Ads being the platform we spend most of our time on, along with platforms like Meta Ads, etc. And yeah, it's about, hey, how do we steward ad dollars to go out and help clients make more money than they are spending in advertising?
And do you guys just focus on Google Ads, or do you do, all the different other variations that are out there?
We work with really all the primary, what they call, PPC, pay-per-click platforms. So Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Instagram Ads, LinkedIn, Amazon, etc. But Google is still, I'd say, the predominant force, certainly in search. So we spend a lot of time with Google.
Yeah. Who do you find are most of the clients that are trying to really tackle Google Ads?
That's one of the fun things is every business model you can imagine. I like saying every couple of days, I learn there's a new way to make money that I didn't know. And then we help them use Google Ads. I mean, it's everything from, a big clothing company to, a tiny little, local plumber to weird niches that, again, I didn't know existed until we started working with them.
There you go. Yeah, I'm trying to get one for my OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have an OnlyFans. It's a weird niche, though. But imagine there's people like that. I know that there's a local game, I know the game for attorneys is really big, having that locale power when somebody's like, hey, search for something around me. I'm always searching for stuff near me, like where's a local chiropractor I was searching for yesterday, where's the local this, and being able to capture someone looking for that near me, I think is a big fight a lot of companies engage in, right?
It's gold. It's how so many businesses get a significant amount of their business incoming, because me, we need something, like you said, go to Google, see chiropractor near me, and see what comes up. And you gotta be coming up there to be competitive much of the time.
I'm always looking for who's open now and who's near me.
Yep.
And I've gotten quite lazy with it, actually. I'm just like, oh, I'm not going to look through the list. I'm just going to type in near me and see what comes. So there you go. I mean, that tells you how I behave as a consumer and what you need to do. Now, you guys title yourselves a premier Google Ads agency. Is there something special about that makes you unique at that level?
Yeah. So Google has a program for agency partners like StubGroup who help advertisers manage their Google ad spend, and they have
Hmm.
different tiers. There's regular Google partners, and then there's kind of special Google partners. They call Premier Google partners. Really,
Hmm.
what that means is that we have high level of customer satisfaction,
Huh.
of adoption of best practices,
Hmm.
of client retention, things like that that Google's able to see.
So you're not probably doing black hat stuff, maybe, that Google doesn't
Nope,
like.
not doing black hat, doing it by the book, and helping businesses comply with Google's policies too, because Google has a lot of policies you have to comply with, and it's incredibly easy to accidentally fall foul of
Hmm.
things, or sometimes get flagged for something you didn't actually do. And so we
Yeah.
spend a lot of time helping people figure out those types of problems.
Yeah, I mean, you can lose your account. You can have your account suspended if you do things wrong. You got to play nice with the Google, or else the Facebook is the same way. They just kind of shut your account down if you don't behave, I guess.
100%.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get in this business? How did you start being an entrepreneur? Tell us kind of your journey through life. What influenced you and got you here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been with StubGroup for a little over a decade at this point. Pre-StubGroup, did some various digital marketing type things, but really got into the digital marketing space with the beginning of StubGroup. And StubGroup was started by two guys. One of them is my brother and a good friend of his,
Oh.
and they brought me on as employee number one at the beginning, and we kind of bootstrapped and built things
There you
and
go.
figured out how do you make it work? How do you make Google Ads work? Ran it for ourselves, ran it for our clients. As we grew, found the right team members to bring on board and be able to keep providing high quality service to clients. And then ultimately, I took over the CEO role about 5 years ago, and I've
Hmm.
continued building it since then.
There you go. So, what is it that drew you to marketing and ads and stuff like this? What got you into that field or interested in that field?
I would say communication is very interesting to me, which is
Hmm.
ironic because I would call myself an introvert, but the idea of communicating, whether that be through the written word, through video, whatever, is fascinating. And
Hmm.
ultimately, marketing is about communicating in a way that drives action. I
Hmm.
want you to purchase this product. I want you to see that I am the solution to your need, etc.
Hmm.
And in the agency world, it's a lot of fun because we get to work with so many different types of businesses.
Yeah.
So there's no boredom of, all right, another day selling plumbing. It's all right, right now I'm working with plumbing, tomorrow I'm working with, clothing, fill in the blank. There's always something new. But ultimately, it all comes down to psychology. And it's,
Yeah.
finding people's pain points, solving those pain points for them, and doing so in a cost-effective way with a client's advertising budget.
Yeah. I grew up in the days where it was all about the game. The game was all the yellow pages.
Yeah.
That 5 pound brick. I don't know,
The
five
book
pounds.
stop.
Yeah, the book stop. You could use it for, if your table wasn't sturdy. You usually use the residential one for that one. Yeah, I remember the whole game of business was you wanted to, some people named their businesses A, B, C, D, so they could be at the beginning. Everything was AAA this,
Yes.
AAA that. So you could be at the beginning of the thing, and then of course people would buy the biggest ads, the one-page ads, and usually there was always some attorney firm that owned the back of the deal. But those are the days, and it was hard to, if you didn't have a good position in the yellow pages, it was hard to get there. Now you have a better game you can usually play, or at least you can if you know what you're doing. What do you see a lot of companies that come to you? What do you think their big pain point is in trying to get advertising to work for them on Google? What do you see their big pain point is lately, or the top ones?
It is a very competitive space.
Hmm.
Google, it's not like the good old days where you could just throw an ad out there and
Hmm.
you had tons of people click. It was really cheap, and things would necessarily be amazing because there wasn't other games in town. It's
Hmm.
very competitive. There's so many people competing for things. And so a lot of businesses, if they have, average or below average understanding of just how the platforms work and the nuances of the platforms, which can get very complex, very detailed, it's hard for them to stand out from the competition and to run profitable campaigns. And so a lot of it comes down to just nitty gritty of, okay, what match types for my keyword should I be running? What campaign types? What's my bidding strategy? How do I feed data into Google about what's converting, what people who click my ads and then are filling out forms or are placing phone calls. And so a lot of businesses just don't have the sophistication to put those things into place in a way that lets them compete in a profitable manner these days.
It sounds like it's one of those things too, where you need to hire professionals that really know what they're doing. As an entrepreneur, you can only do so much. You've got to delegate, and you've got to be able to identify that there's certain things that I'm not huge on, and SEO and marketing and stuff with Google ads, Facebook ads, different things like that. Yeah, that's something I'm good at. I'd be probably the first one to get us suspended for our account for doing whatever the wrong thing was. I'll be like, oh, yeah. And they're like, yeah, Chris, you went right for it. You got it. You nailed it right. You hit it right from the beginning there. You've suspended everything. So, So hiring professionals, I think, makes just all the difference, really.
Yeah, I mean, I often, talk to clients. Obviously, I'm biased. I run an agency, so this is my world. But genuinely, look, if you're gonna, if your link is, if your sink is leaking, you can DIY. You can figure it out,
Sure, yeah.
or you can hire a plumber who's probably going to do a better job. It's going to cost some money, but you might not lose the first floor of your house if you do the wrong thing and it floods with water. So you can do DIY Google Ads. It's there. The tools are there. But again, is it worth the potential mistakes, the potential wasted money, and just the time investment too of doing that versus focusing on other areas of business that you're better at and where you can leverage your time more?
Yeah. I mean, you delegate people. That's the hardest thing to do I think it's one of the hardest things to do as an entrepreneur is you just want to control everything and do everything, especially when you're small. And you have to learn to delegate and put that off and hire people that are smarter than you because that's really the trick. What are some other things that we haven't touched on? I think there was something I wanted to ask you about. Why is it importance of compliance when running Google Ads? What is the compliance thing about?
So Google is, I want to call them, they're a very finicky system. And what I mean by that is some good things and some bad things. So some good things is Google has a lot of things in place to try to protect you and me when we go on google.com and do a search from not clicking on a malware in an ad, not clicking on, a phishing scam, or going to a website to purchase a product and we just pay money, we never get that product, et cetera, et cetera. A ton of bad actors who are trying to use Google for nefarious purposes, and Google thankfully cracks down on that. Unfortunately, because of the scale with which Google operates, they also accidentally crack down on a lot of completely legitimate advertisers who aren't trying to do anything wrong. Sometimes they have technically violated Google's policies, but it's an accident. It's like, oh, I didn't know we couldn't have a redirect in my URL. Just things that aren't nefarious, but they just didn't know what not to do. And sometimes they didn't actually do anything wrong, and the algorithm just flagged them incorrectly and said, oh, this looks suspicious, when really there's nothing suspicious.
That's great.
And fortunately, Google, when they do this, when they suspend your ad account and say you can't run any more ads with us, they don't have a good process in place for you appealing that and fixing things. They have a process. You can submit appeals, etc., but they won't tell you with any specificity what you did wrong or how to fix it. They'll give you kind of these very broad policies that you can read through, but it's like, I don't know what to do. And so we go to bat for a lot of advertisers, kind of describe ourselves as, lawyers for a lot of advertisers, where they, in Google's eyes, they are a proven, they're guilty until proven innocent. It's kind of how the approach goes. And so we come on board, and because we've done this for so long, we've learned a lot of the things that Google likes to see, Google doesn't like to see. We know their policies, we know how to comply with them. And so we help advertisers fix everything that could be a problem, since Google won't really tell them exactly what the problem is, and then appeal that in a way that we know Google is going to be favorable towards, and ultimately, get them out of Google jail and get their ads running again.
Get out of Google jail. I've been to Facebook jail. That's where I usually end up.
It's no fun.
Yeah, I've learned that Facebook has no chill. So like jokes, Even if I put LOL on it, they just they don't get the chill, don't get the
Yep.
jokes. But and I imagine AI is going to make it more interesting. How do you see AI changing the game of Google ad business and some of the work that you guys are doing?
It's already a massive part of things at this point. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a part of everything from, the back end deciding what ads you're going to show to people, deciding how much you're going to be charged when someone clicks on an ad, and whether you
Mm-hmm.
bid, how much for this click versus that click. There's a vast amount of AI and machine learning that goes into that. And then in terms of what you and I as consumers see, the most obvious new manifestation of AI is AI overviews. You go to Google many times, you now see an AI overview as the first thing that comes up that summarizes information, and
Mm-hmm.
that real estate is gold, because that's what a lot of people are going to for answers. And
Mm-hmm.
so the websites that are cited and sourced by that organically, as
Mm-hmm.
well as I think as Google continues to evolve, I think they're going to be putting more and more ads into that location as well. And those advertisers, those websites are going to see an outsized amount of traffic flowing to them, as opposed to even what, quote unquote, is the first organic ranking on the page.
Oh.
So ultimately it comes down to, again, providing value to people, providing
Mm-hmm.
relevancy through your content. That is what those AI overviews are looking for, to try and find helpful information that they think they can point people to. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's still about optimizing for people, but keeping in mind how you're connecting with those people through Google.
There you go. It's AI is going to be interesting to see how it does a lot of things. I know one of the problems that's in the business, I imagine it still is click fraud. Sometimes you have competitors that will click your stuff so that they run up your costs. Do you guys combat any of that? You guys deal with any of that? Is that still a big deal?
Is definitely an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Google, they have a lot of built-in things to try and catch it and not charge advertisers for it and so forth, but
Mm-hmm.
they're certainly not perfect. For example, we had a client we were working with who their competitors were very aggressively going after their ads. We could clearly see, and we were seeing, hey,
Wow.
like 50% of the traffic they were getting was clearly fraudulent from competitors.
Wow.
And we're talking about, a very, very expensive, a lot of money that that was going to fraud.
Yeah.
And Google really wouldn't help us. We reported it and said, look, this is clearly, here's what's going on. And the answer was basically, yeah, we looked at things and things look normal, nothing to do. And
Wow.
so we figured out some ways behind the scenes through some creative, like audience targeting and things, to create a situation where we were excluding people from seeing our ads who didn't have much background of doing any searches on things or Google.
Ah.
So like, bots or people who just had weird patterns and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
match the audiences we were targeting. And we were
Mm-hmm.
able to largely fix that problem for that client.
There you
So
go.
there's still ways around it, but yeah, it's definitely still an issue in the industry.
Yeah, it's. I imagine it's one of those things. One of my things that I find always annoying is, and I see it a lot on Facebook. I don't know that I pick it up so much on Google. Maybe they might be better at it, but I know with Facebook, one of the problems I have is if I buy something, I'll see ads on it for another week, and I'm like, I'm not going
Mhm.
to buy that again. I bought it. I bought
Yep.
some. I bought some expensive gaming chair. I'm not buying that every week. And I'm just like, why am I still seeing ads for this? I already made my purchase, eh?
Yeah, and
And
that's the advertiser not doing a good job, frankly, because what they should be doing. So it's called remarketing, where you see ads for
remarketing.
things you've already gone to, and what they should be
Ah,
doing if they have an expensive product like that, where there's not going to be a repeat purchase in the near future, they should be
mhm.
excluding you from seeing those remarketing ads after the purchase, so
Yeah,
that they're not wasting money and annoying you.
most definitely. I mean, it's when I see it over and over again, I'm just like, man, it's somebody's spending a lot of money for their ads and they're marketing the wrong person. I already bought it.
Yep.
You help agency or you help companies with limited budget and resources run their Google ads and succeed, even though they are limited. What's the low range of clients? Do clients need to have a certain net worth or a certain ad spend to work with you guys?
There's no minimum as far as raw dollars go. What we do is we look at where are they targeting
Mm-hmm.
and what is a sufficient budget that we believe can get them good results. So, for example, if you're a national clothing brand and you're like, hey, we've got, a $500 monthly budget. That's not going to accomplish what we need to accomplish. We're not going to be able to get enough data to say this is working, this is not working, etc. But we have a client. We have a cemetery as a client, and they have a $500 monthly budget. They're targeting very small geographic area, people who need to purchase burial plots, and that can work. So it really just depends upon the targeting side of things, not raw minimums that we make up.
Target people who need to die. No, I'm just kidding. I don't need to die.
It's an interesting one.
No one wants to die. But yeah, it's a tough sell selling cemetery plots. No one wants to talk about, being in the ground, I guess, or whatever the hell happens, But it's a fact of life. Death and taxes, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. What haven't we talked about, or how can people onboard with you? I noticed there's some free consultation. How can people onboard with you to handshake and get to know if maybe you guys are a good fit with each other?
Yeah, the way we like to start is have an initial conversation. Like you said, we do free consultation. And usually when a business is coming to us, either they're already running advertising and they're looking to make it better, or they're new to it and they need help starting. So if they're already doing stuff, first thing we'll do is, like I said, a free consultation. We'll dig in, look at what they're doing, and put together a pretty comprehensive perspective on the good, the bad, and the ugly of what we see, and then the opportunities we see if we work together to help them. And then if it's a new business or a business that's new to digital advertising, we'll put together projections and kind of strategy and say, all right, here's roughly how we would go about working with you. And then if those things make sense, if they sound logical to the business, then we just get an agreement in place and start putting the work in and driving traffic to the website and hopefully driving leads or sales or whatever that goal is.
How soon can someone, if they onboard with you, how soon can they get up and rolling and have ads running and start seeing results?
Generally, between 10 to 12 business days after we get things started with a client, we'll be running. Campaigns will be running. Now, there's always process early on of, again, figuring out what works and what doesn't. So just because we're running doesn't mean you're getting your optimal performance from day one. That takes time and data collection and optimization. But the beautiful thing with the paid ad side of things, as compared to more the organic side of things, is you can start getting traffic and results very, very quickly. It's not, hey, write this blog article, wait 6 months and hope that it ranks on Google. It's no, we're going to do this right now. And we know today or tomorrow whether or not, we can get traffic at this bid. And if not, we can adjust. If so, great. Let's see how it converts and then build from there.
There you go. And, get it all going on. Well, this has been very insightful. Anything more we need to know before we go out?
I think we covered a lot of good stuff. Yeah. Just the way I would end things is, if you're listening to this, watching this, and you're running Google ads or want to run Google ads, again, on that compliance side of things, go read Google's policies, read as much as you can. On our YouTube channel, we have a lot of information about policies in there you can check out, because you do not want to get suspended, and it happens more often than you think. 12 million accounts last year, Google suspended. So it happens a lot.
And you don't, it sucks because it locks you out of that account too. Yep. Especially if your Gmail is attached to it. There was something, and I noticed you guys have a podcast. You want to get a plug in for that, and you guys do webinars as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. Clicks to Customers podcast. We have a variety of guests in kind of the business and marketing space come on that we think would be interesting for our clients and similar businesses to hear from.
There you go. Well, it's been fun to have you on the show. Learned a lot, John, and how we can all be better at advertising, because we all need marketing. Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. Thanks,
Chris. Pleasure to be here.
There you go. And thanks, audience, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Stay tuned for more great material we'll be bringing for the next 16 years. After this month, we hit 16. So stay tuned for that. It'll be 32 years we'll bring you. And then we're just going to quit after 32 years. That sounds like a good idea. I'm just going to do that. I'll probably be dead by then. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. What a dark ending, Chris. Jesus. Thanks for being